The Immaterial Games podcast with these guys. Yeah, so before we fully start the podcast, I've just saw an image of someone doing a donut with a tank.
Sounds great to me.
I mean they're the bad guys. They were those bad terrorist people. But
Are they the
yeah,
baddies?
are they the baddies? But
Terrorists doing
yeah.
donuts and tanks.
Yeah. It's cool. It's always good. Right. Let's
Next we're gonna have evangelists doing like 3 a.m. challenges or something.
I hear you.
Communicating with Jesus at 3 in the morning.
Yeah. So this is good. We haven't even started the introduction yet, and we've insulted the terrorists and the evangelicals. It's perfect. Yeah,
The
so
worst
it's a
part
good
is,
way to
as
go.
I've kind of implicitly put them on the same level, and that's maybe not so good. I maybe shouldn't have done that.
No, but well, what can you do? You know,
I regret
it
this.
just
I
happens.
apologize to any evangelists or people of strong faith who may be watching this.
Yeah, we don't intend to offend.
We just do.
Yeah. So yeah, introduction. Here we go. This is the Immaterial Gamers podcast. Hello, I am Ryan. I am World of Tanks, the original, and this week I've got myself the other two wargaming games. I've got Duncan, who is World of Airplanes, or World of Warplanes.
Pew pew. I'm Red Baron because I'm a ginger. Get it? Jokes.
and then I've got Dariusz, who is World of Warships.
Hello, everyone.
Oh my God, was that a real tank? Just a real warship right now? Or was that Darius? I can't tell.
I've tried to imitate how warship explode, but not sure if that worked.
Explode? I was hoping that was a gun. But you just went straight to explosion. He's not a very good warship.
That actually just sounds like every matchmaking game I ever had in World of Tanks, which was like, all right, sweet. Who do I boom? What? I didn't even get out of the base.
It's
So
not even moved.
yeah.
I haven't even selected my ship yet.
I mean, someday I would want to go back to World of Tanks, but I bet it's just people hiding in, like, crags. I've seen videos from World of Tanks of them, like, jumping off cliffs and just landing on enemy tanks to destroy them, which is a bit odd because of Wargaming's intent of realism, but, it's still fun to look at.
I mean, didn't you see all those World War II videos where the Germans used that tactic? They just dropped their tanks on top of the invading Americans.
Yeah, just watching Mouses just, cartwheel off cliffs. Schnell, schnell! As they fall down.
They should have tried implementing that, that GTA cheat where, you use the low gravity, and then you turn the barrel of the tank behind you, and you start blasting behind you, and eventually you just, take off and start flying around the city with a tank.
Oh, man.
Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, I'm thinking if Rocket League, but with tanks.
Oh, Rocket League is quite a good game.
Yeah.
Rocket League would be a very interesting game if it had tanks. Let's get that mod in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know that they've got the weird mayhem mode where, a comic boxing glove pops out the front of the car, but yeah, actual World War II tanks playing football/soccer, because we've got to make that distinction clear for an international audience when it happens. But yeah.
International audience? We don't even have a domestic audience.
Hey, we've got some sort of audience, I reckon, because we've got probably the more popular video that we've uploaded in the past 2 months, because we nearly hit double digits with the Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes video, which if you haven't watched it yet, please watch. Please?
I will, maybe, at some point.
Hey, no, well, you're part of Immaterial Gamers. You don't need to be the audience as well. I mean, if you want to.
You have to.
you had the advantage of being there. Anyway, what else can we look at? Probably nothing much, actually. So we'll just get right down to it. So we will go to our good old faithful segment. What's been played? And
So, Ryan, what have you been playing?
well, thank you for asking, Darius. What I've been playing this week mainly is Far Cry 5. Hot on the anticipation of Far Cry New Dawn coming out, and with that game being an absolute spoiler because it's a direct sequel to Far Cry 5, I thought I'd give the game a go,
try.
and yeah, I quite like it. I quite like it indeed. So,
Tell us about this Far Cry 5, since I
Yeah.
have never played a Far Cry game.
Okay, so Far Cry 5 is the latest in its series of stealth-like first-person shooters from Ubisoft, and this time involves you. Well, Far Cry games usually have the idea of you being in a very weird remote situation with no help anywhere, things going a little bit crazy. The idea being that you are a far cry from home.
I get it.
Um, and it also was because they used the Crytek engine initially because it was a Crytek game. But yeah, generally the idea is that they're first-person shooters with a little bit of a tiny bit of a stealth focus on it, not too dissimilar from Ghost Recon, but it's tailored to more the single-player experience. And in this particular game, so we've had a few Far Cry games. We've had one set on some tropical island somewhere where some terrorists were going crazy. We had one happen in the middle of Africa where some sort of uprising was happening. Number 3 was in some remote islands where you and your weird Maori or like Samoan heritage sort of thing took place while taking on some weird like pirates. Number 4 had you take on a dictator of a fake country, not too dissimilar from Tibet.
Fakelandia.
Yeah, Fakelandia. It's almost like the Ace Combat games, set in the world of the Strange Reel. That's where you had good old Ameria and Estovakia. Oh, guess what those places are?
Ameria. That sounds like Chinese bootleg America.
Yeah, no, it was part of the Namco thing with the Ace Combat games, so they wanted to keep it in a real world-ish setting without basically pissing off any real world countries. So, yeah, that's where you had Ameria, which was the analog for America, and Estovakia was Russia.
Mario. That's a video game character.
Mario and Grace
Mario.
Mario. No.
It's a
Where's
me,
Mario?
Mario.
What kind of Mario? What are we talking about?
Oh well, he's a Mario. But no. Anyway, we'll move on from that. The fifth game is actually set in rural America. Where
America.
you are, America, real America, and that's where you are a new member of like a local sheriff's department, attempting to take down a cult that has grown in ridiculous size in this rural America place, and it starts with you capturing the cultist leader, Joseph Seed. Yeah, Joseph Seed.
Joseph Seed.
or-
That sounds like a cult leader, all right.
Yeah, his name to everyone else is the Father. And
Of course it is.
yeah, you capture him. You're about to escort him with a U.S. Marshal, and shit goes south, where you then realise the own police department is all under the thrall of this very weird cultist, who's basically started preparing for the end times, and decided that you are a problem. Not enough of a problem to kill you outright, enough of a problem to capture you in increasingly implausible scenarios every X experience point, but still, that's just by the by. So yeah, you end up it goes very Ghost Recon. There are 3 big massive areas of this county or Hope County, and you sneak around, cause some chaos, not unlike Just Cause, retake these outposts from these cultists, and eventually draw out the cult leaders, where you then take them out in ridiculous fashion. So I'm currently one cultist down. I've got rid of the brother of this, John Seed, and his power of yes, which is basically keep torturing people until they say yes. Yeah, got captured by him twice, because that seems to be the case. Every time you hit a new resistance level in a region, an event happens where you then get captured. And you then break out and cause more shit. And I got rid of this guy eventually by doing a massive shootout in a little town called Falls End, chasing him, ended up in the skies, shooting his aircraft down after a while with some guns, because it turns out I suck at firing dumbfire rockets at a guy. Believe me, just constantly seeing rockets fly past him and my ever-increasing sounds of fog, fog, fog. So, you get the idea. But
I don't want to hear the ever increasing sounds of your fuck. I don't ever want to have to listen to that.
Oh well, don't worry, that won't happen. But yeah, took the guy out. He falls down, and then she gets out of a parachute and just lands safely on the ground. To which I then pop a couple of bullets and incapacitate him to the point where he's going to have his death throes. And then the game gets very, very political without needing to get, or without going very political. And I kind of like that with this Ubisoft game. I know there's there's complaints going around. So no, you should discuss like Donald Trump and all that, in your games. It's like, well, no, because it's going to get dated very quickly, and the world knows that Donald Trump's an arsehole. You don't need a video game to tell you it again. But
well, we did have the Mr. President.
Oh well, yeah, that was a weird game.
It was.
It was a very weird game.
Made a good Achievement Hunter play, pals. But
oh
boy.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah.
If you're a Democrat, you might not enjoy playing that game.
No. But yeah. So yeah, you end up and he's getting his last final speech, and this is where you can tell it's political, because they're trying to make out that some event is going to happen, which I'm going on the idea of nuclear war as an idea. They keep hanging out in bunkers and silos and stuff like that, so it's it's a weird thing. And he, as he dies, he says, look, we're just trying to help people, you can see what's happening out there. Do you see who's in charge? And I'm like, oh, they never explicitly mention the name, but you can definitely tell what they were thinking.
We can't say who the president's name is, but his name rhymes with Tronald Dump.
Tronald Dump. That's a good one. You see, just want to make sure that he's not called Ronald Rump.
Ronald Rump. That was the Mr. President name.
Yeah. That I thought I remembered it from somewhere. But yeah. So I'm currently one region down, 2 regions to go, and then I take on the compound, where I then take on Joseph and his weird yellow glasses and his oddly calm voice. Like the guy, the first introduction of the guy is him having a sermon, and he calmly talks about people being in the mist while poking or crushing a guy's skull through his eyes. Very calm while he was doing it. No crazy strength or anything like that. He was just speaking while it happened. He's in the rankings of Far Cry antagonists, he's up there at the top. He's definitely there with Vaz as the other one. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
It's like when you first started describing it, it sounded like a story arc in the show Longmire, and then it turned into like a weird combination between like Fallout and like BioShock.
Yeah, in a sort of sense. Sort of the weird Ayn Randian, or Ayn Rand, isn't it? Ayn Rand. This sort of Atlas Shrugged style thing. Oh, I've forgotten who was the owner of Rapture in BioShock initially.
I can't say. I have very passing knowledge of the game. It's too scary for me. I'm scared of it.
It's fine. I'll remember halfway through the podcast while someone else is talking about the game. So based on that, since you kindly asked me what I was playing,
Yeah,
what have you been playing, sir?
Good job flipping the script on that there Ryan guy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, sorry, I'm jumping all over people now.
No, it's alright. So no, it's not.
I'm
often
walking
I
exclusively
do go
on other
first, is it?
people's toes right now.
Nah, don't worry about it. Right, in that case, yeah, Darius, off you go, mate. What have you been playing?
Oh, ever kind of like few games for few hours, nothing major, nothing from front to end. I'm just trying to remember what I was playing on PlayStation last night. Yeah, there was the Red Dead Redemption a bit.
Okay.
Random shootouts basically.
More horse riding.
Yeah, well, I try to avoid that. I just don't like it. That's the whole thing. I just don't really like riding the horse. However, that's
Riding the horse sucks, but riding the horse is very different.
Okay, yeah, riding an entirely different thing. That's yeah, like a very very quick tangent on that as well. Yeah, I've posted it on Facebook and Twitter, but yeah, turns out naming a podcast episode "Easy Squirt Ketchup" does mess up with YouTube analytics. So
Oh god, what kind of videos are coming up next to ours in that Google search?
Well, yeah, when someone's Google searching the word squirt, it's yeah, it comes up in 5% of searches. So, sorry, 0.5% of searches. So,
Well, the good
we'll
news
probably
is we're
skim below
growing
the
our
radar there.
audience. The bad news is we may be growing it to the wrong people.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, coming soon. Immaterial Gamers podcast will be released exclusively on Pornhub. So that'll be the way to go.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
I'm already
Sorry,
doing
Darius.
face cam. I'm only a couple steps away. I look good on camera. I don't think I look very good in real life, but I clean up a camera. The lighting flatters my hair color.
Oh man, that's good. That's at least one of
makes
us.
my
'Cause I
eyes
just
pop.
don't look good.
Alright, back to the games, guys.
All right,
Yeah.
back to Darius. What have you been playing? Oh god, my computer.
I've been playing a bit of Mysterium.
Yeah, I saw that in our Discord this afternoon.
I've tried to. Yeah, I've played the single player mode,
Mhm.
and oh god, it's so hard to get it right.
Yeah.
It's not too bad when you are investigating. You're trying to match the cards which you are given. That's not too bad, but when you are a ghost, it's just stupidly hard sometimes. How AI cannot get it.
Yeah.
What do you mean by sending this card?
Yeah, it's a bit weird how the AI seems to be a little dumb when it comes to that.
I did
Yeah.
lag a little bit, so I missed the introduction. You're talking about Mysterium?
Mysterium.
Oh my god, there's a
Mysterium.
single play. You can be the ghost in an AI match in Mysterium.
Yes,
I feel
you
like
can
that's
do.
just. I feel like that's just like could be really luck based, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a really nice card-driven game, isn't it? We've played it a few times already together.
Yeah, we did a play session trilogy on it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed the whole thing. Sad face.
Damn you.
Don't worry. We'll that'll be a game that we can go back to for another trilogy at some point.
Oh, definitely. I'm definitely up for it.
I'm not this week coming, but the week after that, I'm actually on break from college, so I'll have a lot more free time during that week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something definitely what we can do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I will get that in the. I will get that in the mental notebook.
And apart from that, I've been playing a little bit of Astroneer.
Okay.
The game was for ages in like early access or something like that on Steam.
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting game by the time. However, they released the game kind of recently, and they kind of changed a few things in it. It's more
For the better or for the worse.
I would say for a better, as far as I know. However, right now they introduced like a single player mode to it, where on the original one there was like kind of you can still play like a single player, but friends could join you.
Yeah.
Right now there is like complete deviation between two. can either play a multiplayer where friends can join you, or you can play the single one. And I think the most improved or changed, the things which has changed, is that instead of having everything to your disposal on one planet, they kind of give you a basic resources on the first planet, just enough to research and create a pod to go to the moon or the closest planet, where you can get the more valued resources.
Okay.
And from that, you can then go back with those resources, build something more, go back again to that planet to get more the same resources, and then you can travel around the space collecting different things.
Okay, so it definitely goes in the list of the Minecraft No Man's Sky.
Yeah, however, it's
sort of
completely but there is less to do it. It's not as creative as Minecraft, and there is no much to do as in No Man's Sky either.
Right.
It's just like simple base building. Because as soon as I think, I might be wrong, but as soon as you visit the moon and then you're going to another planet, that's basically all your resources done, and you can build everything. And when you finish with building everything, there's not much to be done in this game.
Right. Okay.
They might add some kind of more things to it later on, but at this point, that's kind of seems to be the point.
So it's basically like Diet Galacticraft.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Galacticraft was the Minecraft mod that allowed you to explore the solar system, wasn't it not?
Yeah, the Achievement Hunter guys are doing a series in it right now.
They've gone back to it.
Yeah, they have. It's expanded quite significantly since they initially did it a few years ago.
Yeah, since they sent Gavin to space to the moon and he crash landed.
Yeah, that didn't change much, except in this time it was Jack who exploded on the moon.
Oh.
But yeah, no, it's basic. It sounds to me like it's like that, except not nearly as expansive.
Yeah, but it's got improvement now that it's out of early access. And
yeah, it's definitely like a nice small game for 2-3 evenings.
Yeah.
You always can get back to it, isn't it? But if you are for like something new every time you're getting back to it, it's not gonna happen.
It's the distraction game.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Then that would be me, I would say. Unless you want to hear a little bit about Apex.
You played it, didn't you?
Yes.
I guess we've got a couple of minutes to spare for Apex. What are your impressions on it then?
It does feel very good in terms of gun handling.
Which is good for a battle royale game. Guns.
Yes.
Are important.
It's mainly thanks to the guys who've done it, because they are the old Call of Duty guys.
Yeah.
So they knew.
Respawn.
They know how to do the good weapon mechanics.
Yeah. So
that feels great. A little bit of shame there is not so much freedom in movement like you have in Titanfall. A little bit missing of that. But on the other hand, you've got like characters which are super powered.
Yeah. How does that work? Do you reckon in the battle royale thing of basically going Overwatch?
It's completely changing the whole aspect of it, because depends who you're using, isn't it? I just played two characters so far, and I'm not really familiar with every single one of them. But as far as I can tell, it's giving you a nice balance to it. It's literally mixing kind of like you said, battle royale game, the game which we should not mention, and the PUBG.
Yeah.
PUBG, is it? Yeah.
PUBG.
Yeah, PUBG, and they're mixing that with what was the game called? Blizzard game, Overwatch.
Oh yeah, Overwatch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's really like that. It's mixing these two things together. So when you picking up the character which you want to play, You and your two buddies, because you're always playing with a team of three.
Right. Okay.
There's no big point of getting all the assassins.
So
you're trying to kind of balance it to have a good damage and good health region in the team.
Yeah.
To kind of help each other.
Okay, that wasn't something I realised on this. So that's not. So it's not solo focus like the other.
No, it's
Battle
not.
Royales,
I think you're not even able to play it solo. You have to play with two other players.
Right. Okay.
Which is, for some people might be good, for some might be bad. But for me, I would say that's an advantage of this game.
Yeah.
That you're never alone.
Yeah, that works out then. So we're all good. We're all good on that then.
Yep.
Sweet. No worries. So we've had Farcry, we've had Mysterium, we've had Astroneer, we've had Apex Legends, and Duncan.
Excuse me, I had some.
Duncan fall asleep.
I had some acid reflux going on. Just melted my throat, so I'm a little hoarse.
All right. No
sorry
worries.
for that. Just gross description, but it happens. We're very real here on this podcast. We're not afraid to admit to our humanity and our human flaws.
Yeah. So. I'm full of them, so there we go. But yeah.
You took an extra helping just for the rest of us. Died for our sins. So my mind just went blank because I forgot what I've been doing this week. I've been playing a few games actually. Now that I think about it, I will say that the only game that I've played was different than games I've played in previous weeks. Was I've been playing a little bit of a game called Cuphead with my sister.
Oh, Cuphead! Oh man, you were looking for punishment, weren't you? when starting that game.
I wasn't really looking for anything. My sister was the one who decided that we were going to play it together. She just wanted some bonding exercise for us to do. We had a bit of a struggle trying to figure out how to get two controllers to work on one PC. It was not easy. It still isn't easy, even though we know how to do it.
Oh, typical.
It didn't help that one of them was a sort of bootleg PS3 USB controller.
Oh, perfect. I used to do that. So they were a PS4 controller and having to get the DS4 software to try and connect, and sometimes the games would flicker in and out between whether it was going to decide to show you PlayStation controls or X input controls. So that was fun. Again, sorry, that was another digression.
No, it's like the Xbox controller. It's like you turn it on, you enable it, and it's like boom, they've already got control set for you. No big deal.
Yep.
But then it's like the other one, but for the off-brand controller, it can detect it, and it will accept inputs. But what's interesting about it is that if you're player 1, and you set your player 1 to the off-brand controller, you can't menu with the controller. Yeah. Even though you can play the game 100%, including all navigation with it, you can't actually use the directional pad on the controller to do any menuing. This also includes shopping.
Oh.
And where that becomes a problem is if the Xbox controller is set as player 1 and you go into a shop, the shop, I guess it's the shop, what ends up happening is your controller doesn't work, so you have to use the keyboard as your menuing option. That's the only way you can get around it, is by using the keyboard instead of the controller. But the problem is that the keyboard always, by default, unless you've set it otherwise, coordinates for player 1. So if you set the Xbox controller for player 1 and the off controller for player 2, both the keyboard and the Xbox controller will menu for player 1, and player 2 essentially can't do anything because you can't change controllers in the shop menu, and you can't move player 2's cursor or do anything with player 2 with the keyboard or any of the controllers, because two of those controllers are set to player 1 and one of them doesn't respond at all. So you actually kind of soft lock yourself in the shop menu, and you have to literally reset the game because you have no other options.
No.
So the only way to play the game is by setting the the off controller to player 1 so that you can use the keyboard to navigate the menus and use the Xbox controller's player 2. Once we figured that out, we actually started to have a good time playing Cuphead cooperatively together.
Mm.
We have cleared the first world of its bosses and levels. We have beaten, I think, one boss in World 2. We got stuck up on a boss that's like a genie of some kind. He's a genie in World 2, and he's the guy who stopped us. That was the last time we played. It's a very fun game. It can be very frustrating at times.
With it being a run and gunner of it's
sort of a run and gun. It's essentially like a Mega Man boss gauntlet type game, except with like a 1930s aesthetic.
I love the animation in it.
Which conceptually is such an odd idea.
But I think that's what gave it its sort of prominence and the attention when it was like first announced. Just this idea of, so we've got a run and gunny game that looks like 1920s animation.
Yeah.
And I'd say it works for it, but I've also saw that it's the difficulty of it can be described as brutal.
Yeah, it is definitely a difficult game. I think we're on like a medium difficulty setting, and yeah, we're struggling pretty hard. What else can I say about it? What I will say what I like about it is that like a lot of times when you hear about a game that does something really different or unique with its artistic aesthetic, like its art direction, like Cuphead, where it's like, we're gonna hand draw every frame of this game and make it in the style of like old 1930s pre-Walt Disney cartoons. And then you're looking at that, you're hearing that, and you're thinking, oh, okay, this is gonna be some weird artsy game where like the gameplay is sort of a minimal element, and you're mostly just here for the pretty visuals. Or like instead of focusing on like conventional gameplay, it'll have a very unusual gameplay mechanic that's kind of makes you go, okay, the gameplay is as much of a piece of art as the game itself. I'm thinking like Bendy and the Ink Machine kind of thing, where it's like very unique and unconventional type of game with a very odd art style. But it was kind of interesting and in a way refreshing that it was like, or you can even like compare it to like any old walking simulator type of game, like the Stanley Parable, for example. But what I found kind of refreshing about Cuphead is that it does focus on a very conventional, old-school gameplay that is super simple. It's literally just, like I said, a Mega Man-esque platformer/shooter game. It doesn't really get much more complicated than that. Like you get the controls, you get a handle of the controls as soon as you play. It doesn't really change very much. And if you've played any game of that genre from, they were really big in the 80s and 90s, you'll be able to get a hold of it pretty quickly. And I like that they decided to. I get it's kind of interesting because like they have this really old school visual aesthetic, but then they also have a very old school gameplay mechanic. Like obviously not as old because video games have only been around for 30, 40 years, but like they take this art style that goes back to like the earliest days of animation and this gameplay that goes back to like the earliest days of console gaming and kind of mash it together, and it kind of works in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Definitely.
I do like it. It's a hard game, but I like it. I like that it's simple but elegant.
Yeah. And it was great when it finally came out after like the 3 years of providing bits of footage. It's just like, this is what's going on. Like, where is it already? And then it comes out and everyone's like, yeah, this is great. Ow, I died. Ow, I died again. And you know what? I think I should pick it up at some point because I feel I should also need a bit of mug and cup based punishment in my life. So cheers for that, Duncan.
I'll give a thumbs up recommendation for Mugface.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah, is it Cupface? No, Cuphead and his brother Mugman. Is that?
Yes, Mugman.
Perfect. Now there we go then. So we've talked all these wonderful little and big video games, and now it is time to talk about big video gaming news because it is news time. with the news. News time.
News.
News. So, yeah.
Oddly appropriate to
what-
pronounce it that way.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, what kind of news will be on the menu today?
So on the news menu today, we've got a massive piece of news, one that happened as predicted, one that happened on the day we uploaded last week's podcast, and then some very quickfire news that may lead to a spot call question.
All right, well, let's hear it.
So
Let's get
let's
down
get
the
on
list.
with it then. Yeah, so straight on. Activision Blizzard. You know, like how last week we were talking about the fact that they were considering laying off people?
Yep.
Okay.
They did.
I'll pretend I was here.
Yeah. So, so last week, yeah, we talked about Blizzard announcing that there was some layoffs that were going to probably happen the next Tuesday, or on the Tuesday of the podcast. And they did. And they did it in an earnings conference. CEO Bobby Kotick of Activision comes out and goes, "We have hit record results in earnings in 2018. However, there is still room for growth and it did not live up to expectations. As a
Bye-bye.
consequence of that, we are getting rid of 8% of our workforce." And they did. So let's take that into
Yeah.
account. Let's
Yeah.
let's go that again. As a result of a successful profit-earning year, Activision celebrated by getting rid of just shy of 10% of their staff.
Yeah, you know, as a guy, I bring this up all the time. I'm the finance major here. I'm the one person who has like the benefit of kind of being able to see through the matrix a little bit in these seemingly baffling and mind-boggling corporate decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So what probably happened here, there's a combination of elements going on.
Okay.
Number one, obviously there's the big elephant in the room of having to discuss how Bungie has parted ways with what's it called, the company we're talking about, Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, with Activision.
So they parted. So that was a major developer and a major game under their belt that is no longer their responsibility and therefore is no longer a part of their revenue stream. So that's going to be a problem for them.
Okay. Yeah, makes
That
sense.
I mean, you have to imagine that a game as size of Destiny would probably have necessitated a lot of additional administrative and supporting staff that are now largely extraneous and no longer necessary for them. So I imagine a large percentage, maybe not all of them, but probably a large portion of the people that they are that they laid off there or fired were probably part of that staff. So just saying that Activision Blizzard dumped 800 people for reasons is not entirely taking into account the whole picture. I mean, that a lot of that is probably just them trimming the fat in their company, and a completely reasonable, if a little bit of a bummer, reorganization of their staff. The second reason why they probably could have done that, and why they might have been the reason why they got rid of so many people, because I don't know if 800 people is necessarily the comprises the entire supporting staff of former Bungie games. It may be. I don't know how big games are these days. But part of that is because they're no longer relying on that source of income, they may be anticipating a drop in revenue for the 2019 year. 2018 was great because for that most of that year, they had Bungie with them and they had Destiny with them, and that was great for them. But now in 2019, they're facing a potential downturn, not only in their the value of their shares and their company because of this news, but also in actual revenue. So and it's unfortunate that this is a common practice in companies, especially in these tech-based companies like video game developers and publishers. They may be looking to decrease their wage expense a little bit to improve their margins, their profit margins, for decrease their operating expenses so as to increase their net income for the next year. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate that real people with jobs and families, have to be on the receiving end of this practice, but it is a real thing that companies do. From a
Oh yeah.
corporate standpoint, it makes sense, but at the same time, it sucks because people are being affected by that. There's no right or wrong answer, unfortunately.
Fair. That is, yeah, it's fair.
That is
Fair
actually,
enough.
it's actually funny because we had a whole thing we were discussing about. We actually discussed this in one of my classes, financial statement analysis, like just 2 days ago. We were talking about a very similar situation where, a company, one of their solutions to increasing their bottom line was to cut staff, and one of the students was like, well, if you cut staff, isn't that gonna impact sales? Isn't that gonna impact the value of the company? And she was kind of like, yeah, that will probably see some decline, but they may also find what they might do is they'll take, a team of 5 people who used to do this one thing, and they'll say, okay, you know what, 2 of you go home, then now the 3 of you can do all that work, and now we
For the
have
same, yeah.
we've decreased our operating expense in that department by 40%, and we're still doing the same amount of work. Those people are now overworked, and 2 of them are out of the job, but capitalism rolls on.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing, isn't it? I mean, yeah, you're pretty much on with what this the Ars Technica article is saying on this. It's worth noting that Destiny didn't live up to expectations. Skylanders has now basically, as a franchise, been dropped. Guitar Hero, we discussed last week as well, had basically dropped off the wayside as well. I find it weird. Some of these are a little bit contradictory to others, and what you've explained has made sense into some of this. Yeah, you're right. A lot of the support staff had gone, but that was stuff on. They were saying they were taking Bungie out of the equation at that point, and we're talking that was the support staff on the other franchises, particularly in Activision, Blizzard, and King, the mobile game market. They got rid of an entire studio. In that mind, and granted, given what happened with Blizzard and them getting rid of Heroes of the Storm, basically, the fact that they were they're investing in Battle.net and esports with a focus on Candy Crush, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Warcraft, Diablo, and Hearthstone, it's a little bit off. Some note on them that every single one of those franchises is heavy on the microtransaction market.
Yeah, heavy on the microtransaction market, and probably not very demanding in terms of required staff for support and technical support and administration. They're trying to maximize that bottom line by, redirecting resources from really technically demanding games towards things that have a much higher return on their investment, so to speak, in terms of manpower and also real investment. Which again, capitalism rolls on. That's how we do.
Yeah, it's bad news, but it does hopefully, like I say, these 775 people they find work elsewhere. I mean, virtually every games company heard that a bunch of Activision Blizzard employees were getting laid off, and they went, "Oh, hello, we'll have you, hello."
Yeah, because those are people with expertise.
Yeah,
they are masters. They are really masters of of the game design things. So they will definitely find good jobs. If not, they can always form a new studio.
It is possible.
So hopefully it will work the best for them.
I mean, Activision Blizzard, they are they? I know at least in the West they're the highest revenue gaming company. I don't know about globally, but I believe that in North America, at the very least, they are the largest gaming company. So I imagine individuals who were laid off through no fault of their own, like if you were fired from Activision Blizzard, that'd be a different story. But if you were just laid off for corporate financial reasons, then I imagine, those people are going to be in demand in the industry. And I'm hopeful that they'll go find work elsewhere. It sucks that they have
Yeah.
to kind of reassess themselves, and some of them may even have to move depending on where their new offices will be located. But yeah, well, if I know that if I'm sort of a mid-tier gaming developer and there's a bit of max exodus out of one of my major competitors, I want to pick up some of those folks.
Yeah.
Pick up some of those people who are responsible, at least in part, for the success of my biggest competitor. Think about it that way.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's true. And we'll wrap this article up as well with just a little bit, because
yeah, I just wanted to get into it because
to...
I was it's obviously it's a big article, it's a big event, and having a lot to say about it, as the kind of inside guy on the job, I thought we could elaborate on it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd say that gives it from a completely different perspective as Joe Gamer. As I certainly felt when it first came out, which was basically Bobby Kotick's an arsehole. Activision basically getting rid of people for the dollar and nothing more. And it's fair. Businesses have to survive,
and I'm not saying that dollar was not the primary motivation. It's still a lousy move, but
yeah.
Now we can at least see behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, and as to why that's happened, and so it was just a very quick one. I didn't put it in the list because it's just a response, really. But PC Gamer did an article of of Ubisoft's CEO, Yves Guillemot, reporting their financial things, and they've had a very strong third quarter, and as a result, they will unfortunately be not laying off 800 people.
I have to admit that was a very funny article.
So that's just like that. It's like we've got we've got all this money, but unfortunately that means we do have to build our organizational structure for the long term, and it's just like, okay,
and it's
I can see that.
It's a funny response, and I can it's actually a intelligent from a corporate standpoint, that's actually an intelligent move to make, believe it or not, to sort of pose a sort of funny tongue-in-cheek dig at Activision Blizzard, because it's popularly speaking, people aren't going to be taking into considered the real world reasonings and logic behind Activision Blizzard's decision making, and they're just going to be thinking, oh, they're just a bunch of corporate assholes, they're greedy and just want to make as much money as possible and overwork their employees, which I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm not saying that that's not what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, but then it's also it makes them look so much better by comparison. And hey, with hey, your investments in Activision Blizzard are going down the tube. Why not invest in us? We're on our way up. We're not reporting. We're not expecting to report losses. We're not anticipating downturns. We're going up. Invest in Ubisoft. Throw your investment in Activision Blizzard away and buy shares in Ubisoft.
Yeah. One company cock up a little bit, and the other is trying to enforce their own rules. I mean, structures.
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at two different companies in two very different positions. I said, Blizzard may have may have set records for 2018, but the end of 2018 sets a very, a concerning precedent for their 2019 projections, which is why they did what they did. Ubisoft did not have that problem, which is why they can feel so confident in, taking that dig and making these comments towards Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if that pays off when the Division comes out, because they've had their problems as well. Particularly the email that came out, and the person that got fired from Ubisoft for the poor PR campaign of, during the government shutdown, having an email for the early access of Division 2 by going, this is what a real government shutdown looks like. Probably not the, it's Ubisoft's own problems. However, they do what they do, and we'll see how it goes from there. So
time will tell.
Yeah, always. Time will always tell. We'll see what happens when it gets closer to April, when those lawsuits will all come out. But that was the big discussion piece, and we'll just move on to some sort of quick fire stuff. We will move on with some slightly better news. We all like, we've got to make this. We are not endorsed by Rooster Teeth. They don't even know who we are.
No, I doubt
They've
that very much. I've met Barbara Duncan a couple times and she recognized me. She doesn't know my name, but that's about as close as I can get.
Yeah, I was 15, 20 meters from the cast of Ruby. It's a thing. However, quick things. Duncan, a few episodes back, was talking about the Ruby Combat Ready.
That's true.
And,
I was talking about that.
Yeah, and it seems that Rooster Teeth are bringing out or have already brought out a little deck building game.
Yeah, it's like I remember in that episode where I talked about it, I thought it would be really awesome if they had co-developed and co-released a like a digital version of that game, so that you can play like long distance with other people, not just the physical board game. And I guess it's kind of like not quite the same thing, but kind of along the same idea. They've essentially created a deck building game, which is entirely different from what I understand from Combat Ready.
Yeah, but it's something interesting. It's nice to see that Rooster Teeth are expanding on a ridiculous level. Speaking of this, yesterday, as we're recording, as always, we do it on a Sunday, did you hear about the fact that Rooster Teeth are now producing a Transformers series in partnership with Netflix?
Ooh.
Like Transformers brand Transformers, or just like Transformers inspired?
Transformers as in the brand Transformers.
Wow.
They co-production between Hasbro, Rooster Teeth, Polygon, the animation studio behind it,
so
and
not
Netflix.
not Polygon, the news. Website.
Not them. No, but so as fans of Rooster Teeth, that is getting very big.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I thought it was insane when they were, when they had legit Hollywood actors start showing up in their newest series, Genlock. They got Michael B. Jordan, star
and David Tennant.
David Tennant, Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, I'd be Michael B. Jordan, like, oh my god, from Oscar-nominated film fucking Creed, and also in Black Panther as like the co-star, like as the villain.
Yeah, and then Dakota Fanning from various movies, and David Tennant from Doctor Who, and
arguably one of, if not the most famous Doctor.
Yeah, and then, like I say, Maisie Williams of Game of Thrones fame, and also seems to be an app developer as well now. She's like, all over the place, and so that, and then weeks later, and just like, oh yeah, Rooster Teeth are producing this Transformers show based on the War for Cybertron, and we're like, sorry, excuse me.
How did that happen?
What happened to their animation department? It has exploded lately.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, they're doing this as producers. So it's like Hasbro have got their own, got their own animation studio in the form of Polygon to do this. But the fact that this collaboration just came out of nowhere, so yeah, but good on Rooster Teeth. And remember that's the channel that I first remember in college, where people were talking about a bunch of guys who had just come from a call center to do some episodes in a house somewhere, taking the piss out of Halo.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just like, talk about humble beginnings.
Yeah. So we'll see how that.
I have always said, I don't even know if this is like appropriate content for this channel, but like I'm currently working on a 4-year degree in finance. That's my education. That's where I'm heading. I wanna become like some kind of financial planner for either individuals or companies. That's my dream. And the first company I want to apply for when I graduate is I want to apply at Rooster Teeth to see if there's any position there that would, suit those criterions.
Yeah.
And I've known that I wanted to do that since probably before I even went to college, and ever since with all the things that have happened since I made that decision. God, I am just constantly kicking myself. I wish I had gone earlier. I wish I had gone to school earlier. I wish I could have applied earlier because, God, I don't think there's anywhere in the world right now where I could be getting more experience, a more effective experience than if I was, working behind the scenes at Rooster Teeth during this explosive growth period that they've been going through the past few years.
Yeah.
It's like I can't imagine what it must look like behind the scenes. It's just a whirlwind of deals and changes going on. I would have loved to have been there at Ground Zero when it all took off. And I honestly just hope that there's still a position for me when I apply.
Yeah, just picturing what it would have been like for some of those, like for the animators and producers and stuff like that, and just like, Hasbro have jumped on board and like,
yeah, you've got a big names on it right now, so
yeah,
it should be good.
So yeah, look forward to that. That apparently I think's coming out on Netflix like later this year or something. So that'll be interesting to look at. So that's our fanboy recognition right there. So we'll get that filed in, and certainly looking forward to it. It might actually give me something to look forward to Transformers wise, because Michael Bay fucked it all up.
Yeah, let's bring that back around, shall we?
Yeah. Apparently Bumblebee was a good start, but keep it going. So, as we move on, more bad news. I don't know if anyone ever played the game Blacklight Retribution.
Not yet.
Nah, the first-person shooter that came out, bloody hell, 8 years ago. Yeah, and Steve, the general, sent us this. They've shutted it down. Or it's going to be shut down.
Oh, the game I never played is gonna get shut down.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
It's it's one of those things. All the items in the PC store have been made free, so until it shuts on March the 11th, you could probably go on, buy everything, and just have a little bit of
fun,
sandbox fun. But so we lost another one. Thank you, Eurogamer, for telling us that. So, but when one game goes, another game takes its place, and we move to one of the other stories, the one that I was going to get the spot call question for, so think about it while we're going for this. Of all games that would have gone Battle Royale, would any of you have expected Tetris to be it?
I kind of be honest.
You mean like Tetris to be a Battle Royale game?
Correct. Would you have ever expected
a
Tetris Battle Royale game?
I just don't see it to work, if you know what I mean.
Well, it is working, because during last week's Nintendo Direct, they were announcing a whole bunch of stuff, as they do. Fire Emblem, Link's Awakening, a whole bunch of remake-y sort of stuff there. And then they announced that there was going to be a Tetris game called Tetris 99, in which you play in 100 people lobbies of Tetris, and you go until there is one remaining. Last man standing Tetris. It plays by the party rules. Send big lines over to your opponents. You get lines sent back and stuff like that, and you just keep going till there is one left, and that person wins. But yeah, they announced it, and it came out that day. And yeah, I'm unhappy that I don't have a Switch at that point, because you know me, I like my Tetris. I'm not great at it, but I like my Tetris, and that's something I want to play.
Something would be interesting for you, isn't it?
So we're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, basically. I would have found it a bit interesting maybe if you had to create some lines in order to, try and do it the Battle Royale way, which is to scavenge the blocks. So like say you just stood there with just L-shaped blocks until, you can find the straight line Tetraminos. But no, it is just standard Tetris, but in 100-player matches. So, it looks fun. I wish I had a Switch. I don't. I'll wait. It's good. But, based on that, I've got a spot call game. The spot call question. I want you to find me, or I want you to suggest to me, the weirdest concept for a battle royale you could think of? A game that shouldn't be a battle royale.
Uno.
Uno Battle Royale.
Straight in.
I think that might be the winner.
Oh, yes.
I was just gonna go off of games that I have on my desktop, and all of them could work. Sadly, all of them, even in the most bizarre situations. Sid Meier's Civilization 5 Battle Royale. Let's go.
Yes. Oh,
Everyone's
that'd be
committed
awesome.
for 30-hour play sessions.
Marathon mode, 2,000 turns. Just keep it going. Oh man, yeah. So between that and Uno Battle Royale, Jesus, I want Dance Dance Revolution Battle Royale. 100 dancers, and as they go.
That actually might be like entertaining to watch.
Yeah, just 100 people on dance mats playing progressively faster songs until someone leaves or collapses. Yeah, I mean
that would be an interesting concept because like that would really put a different spin on the concept of a battle royale, which is like it's a very long-paced game, and it really like plays on your like mental patience.
Yeah.
Towards the end, but like a game that plays on your mental and physical fatigue as the game goes on, that would be an interesting twist.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. So you know what? Throw that out there.
So we got Uno Battle Royale, we got Civ 5 Battle Royale, and we got DDR Battle Royale. Very different battle royales that all have very different connotations.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Not one of them would be normal for a battle royale game, but I mean, if Tetris can do it, fuck it. Anyone else can. Yeah. There is absolutely at that point there is nothing that stops that. Yeah. Oh, right. So well, what we will do is we will wrap this up.
What about the Anthem news? We have Anthem news.
Did we have Anthem news?
Yeah. So, as we had our beta test last week, 2 weeks ago, you would expect they will at least try to fix the servers, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to say this now, as someone who's played the Anthem this week, their servers, I'll be honest, are okay.
Well, but we
their
have
loading screens are god-awful.
But we do have the reports that on the launch day you could not log in.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Where'd that come from?
That?
Polygon?
Polygon?
Yeah.
Huh.
Anthem early launch is already experiencing connection problems. That was on Friday.
So hold on, it came out on Friday. When did this? I'd like to know. I'm not defending EA here. Just to go on this.
Nobody should defend EA, not even EA.
No, never defend EA. It's just that I'll be honest. Personally, I did not experience
anything like that.
No, it
Good
looks
for you.
to be a right. So what someone has put right. I'm looking at the Polygon article, and it's basically someone minutes after the game came out went and said that there's some problems. And minutes later, they've updated it saying it's fine.
Well, might be that case, but I was expecting a 100%, smooth launch.
No, I wouldn't. It's EA.
It's also a modern video game, so there's never going to be a 100% smooth launch.
Oh yeah.
There's always going to be technical problems. Games these days are like. It's like you develop a game, it's like you may as well be building a rocket to go to the moon. It's just like there's gonna be problems. Yeah, it's like building a rocket to the moon, except you only have a year.
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly, on this point, I'm going to go personally. I would think that the bigger problem with Anthem is not their server connectivity. It's probably their bullshotting on what the recommended specs for running the game properly is. Because there are a lot of people from admittedly mine just meets recommended specs, and people who have got beasts of computers having the exact same problem with ridiculous loading times and pop-ins for textures in a game. And there doesn't seem to be any particular thing that's causing the problem. But joining an expedition with a group of 3 players, as they want you to do, and having you load in staggered intervals between someone who's got their good computer and it's still taking a minute and a half for it to load in, to then mine, like I say, just passing minimum specs, taking 2.5 minutes to load a map.
It's a little bit too long.
Yeah, that's a problem. The game's not even out yet. In essence, the game is not even out yet.
Yes.
But hopefully they might have some optimization. Either that, or they're going to actually tell people what the actual specs required for the game are. Because, honestly, personal opinion, those specs don't cut it. I'm reaching recommended specs, and it's not running. People are going to hit minimum specs, and they're going to have a worse time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in that case, we'll see how that goes when it launches properly next week.
Yay, let's look forward to it.
Yeah. Maybe. But yeah. Anyway, we'll try and keep that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. We will wrap this up now. So.
For realsies this time.
Yeah, for realsies after that false start. But yeah, if you did enjoy our excitement, depression, and momentum, please do the likey, share, subscribe thing. Oh yeah, and analysis. And if you want more business discussion, because I do, because it's actually a bit different from my rambling, please do the likey, share, subscribe thing with the bell. Check us out on the social medias. Check out the other videos in the playlist, or the other podcasts. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your arch rivals and your nemesis, because all bad guys, they still have bad days. They need something to listen to and watch. Remember to check out the other series as well.
Yes, watch our gameplay videos. We have some
Table.
now. A bunch of them, different ones from different people.
Yeah. So we got Steven's War Table. We got my role playing Nottingham games. We got our play sessions, and then the odd videos that will come up now that may end up being just called something immaterially different, or SID for short.
Yeah, there may or may not be a Dota video coming out by me, so we'll see how that goes. Depending on how that project rolls along.
Yeah, then we'll see how that operates. But until next time, thank you Dariusz and thank you Duncan.
Like it, share it, subscribe it.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and we wish you a good week. And for God's sake, please don't kill each other.
We'll try not.
Good. That's all I can ask. All right. Cheers, guys, and see you later.
See you. Bye-bye.